started with, I was group 10 or whatever, when I just started.
Group 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, group 10.
So she's not here, and I already gave her feedback. So basically, like she started Kapalbhati and little, it seemed little quick. And Kapalbhati, you know, we always have to assume, right, that the class is new, the people are new. It's not that class is full of teachers and they know how to do Kapalbhati. So showing how to do it, watching them, you know, so eyes were little closed at some point I saw, so that just look around, because Kapalbhati somehow, some people find it little difficult and they don't do it right, so we want to watch them, how they're doing. Plus benefits and limitations, it's important to say that. Same thing for Vastrika. And then also Udiyana Banda and Agnisar. So we have to explain why we are doing what we are doing. If it's a digestive disorder, we want to say that this is going to help, and this is the benefit. And if you have blood pressure, again, you know, limitation, then don't hold it too long or listen to your body. That. So that was that. Sushma, yeah, and there was confusion about the Surya Namaskar was supposed to be digestive order based. And then Sushma took over. Good job in Marjalasana breathing. Good job with Surya Namaskar. And you were mentioning stretching that, because that was our focus, stretching abdomen, contracting and all that. That was all good. Something that the Viprit Karma,
Yeah.
we have to give good instruction for
Yeah.
that kind of, so that. So after that, also digestive disorder, we are doing Surya Namaskar, Ashwasanchalanasana also we are saying that we are compressing, right, we formulate abdomen. So one thing in Surya Namaskar, I don't know if it just happened, not knowingly, but the thighs were coming forward to go. But I think we just keep it like stationary. So thighs not forward. So something minor. So we bring it up. Okay.
Without
so
trying to give that stomach like a little bit pulling up, like, you know, that's why I thought maybe if we can stretch a little more, then we can
yeah,
stretch
so
the stomach.
I don't know.
That's all. I was trying to focus more on that one, so I just mentioned that.
Yeah. Then Pavan Muktasana, we want to make a big circles. Try to say please big circle, and the leg when it goes down, almost not touching the ground, but very low. Again, so that can give nice. That was. Otherwise, everything was good. Supine postures. When we do supine postures, that is the time that it's an opportunity for us, because they are not going to be able to see us anyways, right? So this is the time we can walk around and look and see how everybody is doing. And we are saying that, oh, don't lift your head, if neck hurts, and that tells us right away that, oh, these people are not lifting their head, so they have some neck issue. So we can address that accordingly. So supine postures, we can just either watch them sitting, or we can just stand up and look around and see how everybody is doing, because they are not able to see us anyways. So Deepa, QRT, that was little quick, I think. Is it because of the time crunch? Yeah. Ardha Kati Chakrasana, you did good. You were observing how everybody is doing. You were looking at everyone. Ardha Masundrasana was mixed up, like with the legs, and so that instruction can work on that. Then you were saying start with Shavasana, so I think just the supine position, right? When we are starting, we just say not Shavasana, but steeply. So Matsyasana, neck limitation, again we want to mention, before doing it. If you have any neck issue, you don't want to do it. Good DRT by Maneja. Brahmari Yoga. That was good. Nikita, nice beginning of Sahaj Nani Shuddhi, very nicely done. Manjalasana was good. You were saying about focus. Pavanmuktasana. There was good subtle point you mentioned in Pavanmuktasana, tucking the tummy in. That can make it so easy, you know, the strain on your back and all that. So that was a good subtle point. One thing about holding asana, I feel that you were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. That can be a little disturbing for people. Like when you're holding a pose, you really want to go inside and feel the stretch. So you can say, oh, feel where you're stretching, just breathe. And so that's why I feel about saying numbers 1, 2, 3, then the attention is outward.
We can discuss that aspect. It's a topic of debate for the most part. Yeah.
Because actually, sorry, it was, we were not sure whether to hold the breath or not. So actually, we will count. Yeah.
We normally buy
10 counts.
Yeah,
like
10
if we
counts.
say 10 counts, then it's say 10 counts, then it's more clear, but that's good.
Yeah, so you can say 10 count in your
Yeah.
mind or breathe 5 breaths. You know, something.
Some people, even while going into that position, their thoughts come and go for them. So instead of that, if we count numbers, so that they'll be focusing at least on the count and that position. They'll be focusing.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
That's a good
Actually,
idea.
yeah. There are both, such application also works. I have attended such classes. There are some teachers who just always count, and it's just, once you set with that, it's very relaxing. Meaning you don't have to think. They are going to give us this. It was so nice. One teacher, Leena, she attended our DYT first batch. She used to give the class like that. Just people would love her class because it was like a drill exercise, pretty much. But it was a very interesting drill in that sense. You just have to, you go in a cruise mode, right? Cruise control. So you just, she gives asanas, of course, variations each time. But you know that once you're in an asana, she'll count up to 10 or 20, whatever her count was, usually up to 20 seconds. So she would count 10, 1 every 2 seconds or some such thing. And it was very systematic and it just felt good because she wouldn't allow us to think anything. Yeah. That is also
so
possible.
again, it's
I also
all
know
about
this.
experience.
Not that you have to do that, everybody's different.
But I think sometimes it also, your brain thinks, oh, okay, it's going to finish soon.
Yeah.
I think that's the other
That is also the other one.
benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So a quick question on that. Like if we do counting, I mean, one of the things that I learned from experience, I don't know whether this is the way that's practiced here when we teach, is to count backwards so that they know when it's going to
Yeah.
That's what usually we do. Yeah. And she did the same thing, backward.
and I think one thing I learned from Sri Ramji last week or 2 weeks ago was, we were holding a pose, or I think maybe it was Kapalabhati or something, and then when it was about to finish, he's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it was done,
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I like to count towards the last part of
Yeah.
even asanas
Yeah.
because they are already like, okay, what is happening and how long am I
Yeah,
going to
how long
stay
am I
there?
going
And
to
then,
stay
yeah. Yeah. Then you count, okay, all right.
So, and the last thing was MS30, Sridevi, that was good. Good crisp instructions. And I know we didn't have done, but one thing I felt personally in MSRT, when I started doing, first I was just chanting in my mind when we do Anahata, and then I learned to use your lips, and I feel it very relaxed when I say, and I feel it, and that is very relaxing.
Yeah.
Even the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, if you chant loud and then in your mind, you use your lips chanting, and I find it relaxing. So.
It's a good way to engage your mind, and then you go to the third level of relax. It's called Ishat Sparsha. Ishat Sparsha is you're not really using your tongue fully, like you are just and also the voice cord. You're just barely touching, and that's the way you chant. So that is there. I have read it in Siddhanta Shikhamani, where he talks about how to chant Anahata. That's when they use Upanshu or some other word for that, and that is basically he says use your lips to chant and mildly touch, so that here you have to touch to produce the sound. Here you are not touching fully, or even throat, you are just barely doing that. So it is a science that existed for many thousands of years.
Is that what they call the lover's voice?
Okay, somehow it has to connect to something. Wow, that's very creative.
Right, there's the human voice, the lover's voice, and there's God's voice.
I see. We can connect it to Gandharva world. We can say this is a Gandharva voice. That's better.
This
and,
also-
yeah,
sorry.
so one last thing. So MSRT, let's say if the class is new or even one person is new there or your first time you're giving, then you need to give little background of what you're doing. Otherwise, so what is this mantra and what is this,
Yes.
where this thing comes, people don't even know Mahamrityunjaya mantra. So some little background quickly you can give either by when you say it or just little bit before you start.
I think if we were to teach this set by ourselves, right, whichever set, we would probably teach about less than half of the whole set, because you're introducing the concepts to people. It's only after they've done it for 4 or 5 times that you don't need to give instructions like that anymore.
Absolutely. That's totally That's why even our comments, we don't really talk about a whole lot of, why did you say this instruction, you should have given. All these things that's not the point here. And tomorrow's point will be that. So what we do on this day for therapy is that explore the techniques. That's the goal of this 1 hour practice, because the techniques are more than what we can do in 1 hour. That's why shortened practice, just 3 rounds instead of 6 rounds, things like that, which is okay, just figuring it out, right? That's the idea. Any other feedback from your side?
Oh yeah. Going back to that chanting and whispering, and so there is one other text also. There are a lot of texts that talk about it, but recently I was reading this text of Yoga Agyamalkya. So he says that when you chant, beginning students of mantra japa practitioners should chant the mantra loud, and after that they should whisper it, and the power is 10 times more. And from whisper to just engaging the lips, that's 10 times even more powerful than whispering. And then finally taking the mantra inside is 10 times even more powerful than that. So he gives you like a scale.
Nice.
Yeah, but then don't jump the ladder, because if you're not there, it'll not even be 1/10 at that time.
And sometimes some days are such that in spite of your practice is deeper, you have to chant loud, because it's not necessary that every day is the...
Yeah, correct. If brain is depending on how speed of the mind is. Okay. Anything else? All group? Anything from all group to talk?
I liked it. It was good. They were awesome. It's perfect.
Okay, lovely. Actually, I felt the same way. It was fantastic. The whole practices, Gita, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal. Now, next 2 sessions or 3 sessions that we are left with, assume that we all know. Meaning, like what Sukhi was saying, it's not the first class. They have come to you for a while. So that kind of assumption is fine. And if you want to give contraindications, they should flow with the session, not a very long demo. And that's where it was fantastic, no question about it. Demos were just, the whole instruction was just phenomenal. Just that if we came to the same class 4th time, how would you treat us? You would still want to give some contraindications and stuff like that, because without that, people just try to forget them and things like that. So you want, or maybe there is 1 or 2 new all the time. So this is how the class structure is always going to be. There are some who are always regular, and there are like one or two who will miss here and there and come once in 2 months and things like that. And that's not going to be stopping at all. That's how it is. And you have to make sure to remind those folks also. At the same time, if you spend this much time demoing and all that, then the existing ones will go away because they say, hey, half the time I listen to instructions. They should be constantly doing. Like, remember we said this last time. Try and focus on that part. That's the only part I found. A demo can be a little faster. Like Gunamana was a little good. All instructions were very nice, but then it would have been a little like just a few seconds lesser. Okay, and SN, Surya Namaskara, that is something we need to work on, especially your group. You counted, made us count and all that. That is okay in a yajna setting where we are now just doing it as a dynamic practice. But if you have modified them for digestive disorders, you want to spend time. I think Sukhi did a good job of that. So that kind of a session is a good one. You should watch the video. Actually, video also does the same thing. That is, take the leg farther back, and then the tabletop for the most part is an intermediate pose. It's not even really just a pose. So then you go into deeper Shashankasana. So that video, I've specifically that's a one-on-one session I have given. It's a live one-on-one session that we videoed for that person, and I shared that. So it was catered to that person. That's why it's not exactly like one master list of asana or anything. It's just one GI practice. Somebody asked me, oh, is this the only thing? You asked, right? Oh, can there be other things? Of course. That was just simply I shared the video. We make YouTube of those things and share with them. Then I put the header front and back, and I shared with everybody else. So that, there's because I had to share with external person, I like to put that title and stuff. I use iMovie, so just add that. But not necessary. You can, even give the video, just make the video and just send it. Use some banner like that or something like that, so that it's just there. That's all I wanted to say. That you want to spend time on each of the pose, and in one case we do back bend. Back bend is not the focus. Okay, just lengthening the spine and observing the stretch in the stomach region, APD. Right? You did acid peptic disorder. You said acid pepsid disorder. It's not pepsid. Yeah, it's yeah, peptic disorder. So you want to just focusing on that area, and then forward fold. One other thing about forward bending, we say bend the knees. Usually we say that for the back pain. Right. Okay. Here, these are not back pain people, right? Unless, of course, they can come with such morbid conditions. Here we can say bend your knees, fold forward, bend down, and then if you can, now try straightening as much as you can without compromising this abdominal compression. Most of them, that come here for these practices, as soon as they become straight, if the legs become straight, then the compression of the abdomen is lost. So here the focus is compression of the abdomen, but then also try and give them the trajectory where to go. Okay, keep straighten as much as you can without letting this compression go. I've said, given all those instructions there, because I was giving one-on-one, I had all the time and attention given, and I did that. And that's why I shared it, because that's a typical therapy session, how you want to teach. Because here is the person, and of course that was only second session or something. First time, we don't record because we teach them. Even as soon as we say bend forward, they'll be doing something, then we walk there and we just correct them and all that. So that we don't record it. After 1 or 2 sessions, we record the session. So that is the idea here. To give that third session is what I was looking for, even in your classes. That way you have taught them, they are oriented, they know certain things, so you don't have to go around correcting them. Then you still have to give instructions to make sure they are motivated in the practice. The goal of yoga therapy is motivation. So whatever they like. Yesterday, for example, we went to who was that? Shobha, yeah. Where is Shobha? we were giving therapy to this progressive supranuclear palsy, yeah. PSP, yeah. That is like an Alzheimer's condition. Not exactly. We found quite a bit of difference there. He has a lot of neurological issues. Speech is slurred. He can understand but cannot put it across. Attention span is like a few seconds here and there, and not necessarily dementia. Yeah, so that was the person, right? So when you work with such people, what is the goal? He has to come back to the next one. Are you interested in coming to yoga at the end? He's not down, he's not up. The wife is very motivated, she wants to bring him. Now, how we conducted therapy for that person, right? First session, we did the evaluation and then putting him on the supine pose, on the prone. Of course, he could not even go back prone. Could sit on the wheelchair, and I didn't know he could even get up and sit on the regular chair. We could have done tons of stuff after that. The goal there was to see what is it that he likes, because he's a person who is skeptic and not very motivated. We said, okay, let's do this. Can you chant? And of course, not of Indian background. So we said we usually use chanting, because what can you do with all these disabilities, right? And he said, yeah, I have done TM in a very slurred way, and I didn't understand. His wife said, oh, he has done TM. Oh, okay, if he has done transcendental meditation, then chanting is no issue for them. They are okay with that. So then, yeah, we'll include chanting. And then we said, we'll also teach you candle gazing, because his vision is like that. He doesn't look at anybody that is, he doesn't want to look at. He just like a blind. You know how the blind talk. That's how he was. I said, okay, we'll teach. Not that he's blind, nothing. So we'll teach some gazing. I don't like gazing. Okay, fine. We'll not do gazing then. We'll just do more chanting then. So the point is to give them what they enjoy the most. Then that is, from there you take them wherever they want to go. So that is the idea here. And going back to the comments here, Surya Namaskara definitely has to be significantly improved for digestive disorders. We want to focus. I liked Sukhi when she said, yeah, Ashwasanchalana, get the compression here. Every pose there is something that does something to the stomach and to the organs inside. That's how you want to put it. Okay. And usually when you come up here also, you get a good stretch here. That's a great pose we adopted from, Vinyasa Krama, because we used to give this for Laghu Shankha Prakshalana, right?
Yes.
Stretch and stretch. We said, okay, wait a minute, this is Laghu Shankha Prakshalana stretch, so that is obviously stretching all the sphincters. And I said I stretched so much that it was just like that. You sit there and it's like loose enough. To that extent you can stretch. That means, look at the power of these practices. You can do anything and everything with that. And be careful also. It's like, okay, I didn't know. Okay, next. For cyclic meditation, of course, as soon as he opens his mouth, we are all in bliss. We don't need to do anything after that.
But
So-
actually, I didn't prepare. Just when I was reading, as I was about to give instructions, I googled what steps were.
Oh my God!
That's why I said I'm going to give a short cyclic meditation.
Also,
Whatever I
cyclic
remember.
meditation can be googled. I didn't know this.
That's the
This is
website.
great.
He had all the tools.
Yeah, the thing is, I know you are an advanced practitioner, but people cannot stand in Tadasana like that. So you want to say, usually we give them legs at hip distance apart. That's the best way to give cyclic meditation, many people, because they'll be otherwise struggling to stand. That is one thing, one big feedback. And also, after even the first one side, then you want to give Shitila Tadasana, so they observe. It was very advanced Tadasana, and that too for a very long time. So that's going to be quite difficult for people to do. That was only feedback I had there. Other than that, I think I was okay. If anybody has anything else, you can add any experience. Yeah, so we have Markatasana sequence. Fantastic job, really good job. She gave the whole sequence of wide leg and simple Markatasana. We have cross leg Markatasana. We have single leg Markatasana where you just bend, one leg and take only one leg. All of that is in the home practice. There is this master list of all the asanas, therapy manuals with the readiness for home practice kit. That is, we usually record audio recording is great. So if you want to give somebody a home practice recording, I like to do audio recording, and then I arrange the practices and make that home practice kit. So copy this and into your own document, and then follow that, give them a practice, and then that is audio practice, and ask them to practice at home. That's it. For 2-3 weeks they can practice that, and then if they say, hey, I'm done, if they are serious and if they are committed audience, charge money. Believe me, they'll be very committed. And we have learned this lesson. Initially we used to call Tom, Dick and Harry and start giving yoga therapy, mainly because we needed those clients, right? Which is okay to do, but you will also see that those kind of people will come to you, they will simply not value you, and they will not practice at home. It's just, most of them won't be committed. So now what we have tried, what we do now is, first of all, charge them money. That is one thing. And even if everybody cannot pay the same amount, we always reduce the fee if needed, but we say that is only if you are committed. If you and also we know, as they start talking to us, we know how committed they are. If they are not committed, then we just don't spend enough time with them. So please understand, we are here to help them, but without their commitment, we cannot help in therapy case. Unless they are coming to you every single day, then yes. Or at least 3-4 days a week, then yes. But if they are coming once a week, they go home, do nothing, come back again, the effect is, and that too some weeks they'll say, I'm busy, I go, travel, I come back. That is not that we turn away anybody, but we know that our investment on that also can be equally thin, because why should we spend that much energy recording and the whole practicing the kit and making the kit and giving them all this stuff. We just say, okay, come on over, we'll talk, we'll do more talking, we'll do the class equally good, no question about it. So they go home with that benchmark. If they are coming back again, we know that they have felt good about it. So that's good enough. If not, then they will tell their wife, their child, their neighbors, it's fine. They will still be happy campers. They will, somewhere some thought comes, they'll say, oh wait, Sukhi told me not to do this way, let me change mine. So there is still some change happening there. If they are coming back, we know we always welcome, but how much can you put in? That you have to think based on how they are really also putting in. So that is first thing you want to prepare. You want to tell them, you want results. I am putting in money, time for you. Yes, you are paying. We say that you are paying, but you know what? We are putting in so much more resources here than what you're paying. If we sat down and calculated the amount of money you paid and the amount of entire Yoga Bharati resource that went in, there is no way you meet that expense, because our volunteers are working. Many of our volunteers, more than 50% of our volunteers are giving their time free. That is why we are able to do this for you. So respect their work and please commit. If so, we'll help you. If you are not very committed and you don't have time, then you can still come here to our group classes or wherever. You will still benefit. There's no question about not benefiting when you come to yoga. But please understand, your proportion of how well you want to recover depends on how much effort you want to put into this. Time is health at the end of the day. So this is something we always talk. Okay. So those were pretty much my comments. Other than that, I don't see anything much. Finally, sectional breathing. Fantastic sectional breathing. Just the instructions were so soothing. Everything was just very good. I just hate to give comments, but then I see some discrepancy, so I have to say.
Yes.
I think full yogic breathing was missing. We just
Yes, I should
Yeah.
have done that.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
And usually when we try to do Nadanusandhana, we go with sectional breathing. Say
Okay.
when you do abdominal breathing in Chin Mudra, that at the end of abdominal breathing, we chant Ah.
Oh.
And the most important part that was missing was Kevala Kumbhaka. People, we are all adept here and we do that. But they will be simply when you say inhale, exhale, they are just inhaling, exhaling.
They're not observing.
They are not at all observing any Kevala Kumbhaka. So that is the goal of every pranayama practice. We should keep insisting on that observation of suspension of breath. Like Budok breathing or whatever, B-U-D-Y-O-K or something, that breathing they talk about, right? The only thing he talks about is just suspension of breath. The amount of instructions, however, he gives makes one feel like that's the only part or some such thing, and people may hold their breath more. Although he doesn't say that, you wait until you have a deep, need to inhale, and then you inhale. That kind of instructions. Please don't give that kind of instructions too. Then people will be suspending their breath. Then it's a Bahir Kumbhaka. That's more dangerous than Anta Kumbhaka, by the way. So you have to know that just giving that awareness is enough. So the Westerners always push themselves to no end, right? I'm sure there will be people doing these things. I have come across many. We do give yoga therapy to many of these successful white male. I'm sorry, stereotyping, but that's something I've heard not only from Indian circles, but I've heard it from some of the American circles also. In CSE also we have heard this typical white male who wants to just run to success, right? That kind of a crowd, and of course nowadays women are also joining the fray. They want to take everything to the extreme end, right? No, that's how I can be successful. So we had one such guy who took yoga therapy from us, and when I would give anything, he would overdo that, and I would see that tendency again and again, and I had to really sit him down and talk for hours about what success is. Why are you stretching so much? Oh no, the more the better, right? No, the more is not the better. It's just more is not better. You just have to relax first. Oh yeah, let me relax. Like what are you trying to do there? Everything was just too much. It took me quite enormous effort to make him understand that relax means relax and not relax, that kind of even relax was like that. Very successful businessman, but yeah.
But was he able to hold it
He was holding, everything was too much, right? Everything, you will see that this is the case with many people. They think that doing more is better. That's why we don't want that additional emphasis on that Budok breathing where he was saying, you wait till that huge impulse to breathe happens. By then you would have messed up enough. So, but Kevala Kumbhaka is necessary, otherwise they'll be like that.
So one question.
Yes.
For MSRT we don't have Kevala Kumbhaka, right? Do we?
Everywhere the last part of the breath goes out in silence is also enough. When it goes out in silence, where does it end? It suspense. But having said that, when you are giving the back-to-back akara, ukara, makara, you don't have to do anything. But because by the virtue of stretching the exhalation for so long, you've already got your the same effect of increasing the carbon dioxide levels to the point where the next breath is needed. That's the goal, right? We don't want to be hyperventilating. That is the goal. So that if you achieve, however you achieve, that's good enough. But if you don't say anything,
No, I
then
didn't.
yeah.
It's okay to mention it though.
What?
Kevla Kumbhaka. In MSRT.
What in MSRT, what we usually do is we first give them the first set is usually slow, and then the pace can pick up 5, 7, 9 rounds of akara, ukara, makara, akara, ukara, makara. Or some of the people just do oo. That's also okay. Especially in the case where the people are like, say, older population, more anxiety. Anxiety, you can always do akara, ukara, makara. But if the person is learning wise, right? In case of older population, just to let you know. It's always good to give the same thing it just gives them comfort. I'm just chanting and then you move, because that move is for them stress. Anything new to catch up is stress. So for such people, it's always good to do akara 5 times, 7 times, 9 times, doesn't matter. Do that, and then ukara, and then makara. But usually we try to do akara, ukara, makara because we want to go from head to toe, and the second round and the third round, and second round can be, then next 3 or 4 rounds can be back to back, just to beat that speed. And then you go slower. Feel at the organ level, at a tissue level, at a cellular level. So then you start giving silence. Then you start giving more Kevala Kumbhaka. Increase the silence, reduce the sound. And then ahata, anahata, that also 2 or 3 rounds. MSRT can be practiced for an hour. I sat through one of the Ramachandraji, in Ramachandra Bhatt, or what his name is, phenomenal guy in Prashanti. He would give, Didi had said, this is the most stressed out lady, so give her MSRT. So you would give 1 hour, amazing. His voice was like that, right? Just he would talk and everybody would be relaxed by the time he opens his mouth. But then after that 1 hour, and I would say, Ramachandraji, I'm sorry, the whole Prashanti, like everybody tried to make me relax, and you are the one who don't even give me a choice but to relax. So that's the kind of person. So one hour of MSRT can be done. And then usually I like to sit them up if they are good with chanting, that is. We had once a bunch of teachers like this, and we did Mahamrityunjay mantra for 9 rounds. Phenomenal effect. That becomes a meditation. And then you go into silence, 10 minutes of just nothing, silence. Nobody wants to come out of that session. That's the power of MSRT. You chant, and that is one. One is just the simple syllables. The other is also adding Mahamrityunjay mantra. In our case, what we tend to do is we just simply chant Mahamrityunjay mantra. The teacher chants and they just listen, or put the recording on, or anything where you can just play and let them listen to the soothing vibrations. And if that is also not allowed, no problem. Just akara, ukara, makara is fine. Okay. So sectional breathing, those were the things. Akara, and also we were all here like that, and we were doing the chanting like that. It's good to do the mudra and then release the mudra and observe the effects. So there are multiple aspects to it. One is mudra, because it's such a powerful system. One is all these poses, right? Whereas this one becomes a meditative experience. So hold the mudra, hold the mudra, abdominal breathing with Kevala Kumbhaka, and then 3 akara chanting, and then release the mudra and observe. Give them that break. And then take Chinmay mudra, same thing, and then release the mudra, observe all the fingertips and wherever touch happened. So that you are kind of combining everything into one beautiful meditative practice. Yeah. And finally, the
all
full
3
yogic breathing, and that also can be 3 times. Takes good 20 minutes, by the way, if you did that much. Okay? Alright, thank you. And we are going to need 1 hour for your presentations and 1 hour for the feedback. So that's 2 hours. So we have about 20 minutes. Okay? 20 minutes until 11.
Oh.
So 11 we start the talks.